I'm here today to tell you that it's time to pick a side. Are we going to be a nation that stands for the Constitution or for TikTok? Are we going to be a nation of law and order or wide open borders? Which is it? Because it's time to pick a side. I'm an actor, and I just had this movie come out. It was famous last name Reagan. My favorite president of the 20th century. And it's amazing how the issues of the 1980 election are very similar to what they are today. I don't know if those of you who are of a certain age here probably remember the inflation that was going on back then. 20% interest on a bank loan. We had Iran hostages. We were a nation in decline. That's what they told us. Ronald Reagan came along and said, no, we're not a nation in decline. We're going there. And we followed him. The same with Trump, with President Trump, my favorite president of the 21st century. So, I voted for Reagan, went into the voting booth, and I was glad to do it. It was my second time voting. I think I got it right this time. And I went and I voted for him. I went home. I was living in L.A. I had a roommate. He said, who'd you vote for? I said, Reagan. He said, you were kicked out of the hippies. So I turned in my card right then and there. But, I'm going to ask you a question that Reagan asked America back then. And I think it's the question that got him elected. Are you better off than you were 4 years ago? 4 years ago, under President Trump, we had energy. We were an energy-independent nation. We had cheap gas. We were actually exporting oil to our allies and our friends. Today, Putin is making money hand over fist, selling oil that he uses to pay for his Soviet-style comeback war that he has with Ukraine. And while we're shutting down our pipelines over here and capping our wells and begging Saudi Arabia and Venezuela to will you please sell us some oil? We're kind of short right now. Today, and what about inflation? What about it? When Trump, when he left office, inflation was under 2%. That's like nothing. It was free money almost. Today, all you got to do is go to the grocery store, go to the gas station, go to the department store. There's evidence enough right there that we know that fairy tale called Harris Bidenomics just doesn't work. 4 years ago, peace in the world was not just some kind of fairy tale either. Peace in the Middle East, Trump actually was right on the verge of accomplishing the Abraham Accords that would have recognized Israel by Saudi Arabia and other Middle East nations and would have had us on the road to peace that we have been so trying to get to since the biblical times of Ishmael and Isaac. And then there was Afghanistan. Trump had negotiated. We were withdrawing with honor and order. We'd been there for 20-something years. It was time to get out. And we were getting out with honor. Trump even let the head of the Taliban know with a photo of his house that America was willing to make a house call if one soldier was killed or shot at during that time, and they lived up to that deal. I guess he didn't like house calls. Iran was bankrupt. They weren't able to give weapons to Hamas and Hezbollah. And look at where we are today. We basically funded that war. 4 years ago, We had a secure border. We were on our way to even doing more and having a wall. That's what a nation is. It has a wall. Every other nation on earth has got one. But I guess it's like voter ID. You don't need it in this country for some reason. You know, it's, and I'd like to personally talk about a very dear friend and family member, really, of ours, my housekeeper, Josie. She was here illegally for over a decade, using her sister's identification, working for us. She couldn't go back to Mexico because she couldn't get back in if she went home to see her parents. She couldn't take a plane ride. She was always living in fear that she was going to get pulled over. She was the safest driver you ever saw. And when Trump was elected, she was in fear that she was going to be sent back to her country, to Mexico. I told her, I said, Josie, no, you're not. That's not what he's talking about. He wants people to come here the right way. I'm going to become your sponsor. And so we started it right now. She has her green card today, and she so wants to get her citizenship before so she can vote for Donald Trump. So like I said, people, it's time to pick a side. Who are we going to pick? God bless you.